This is actually my sixth time living in Japan, stretching back some 30 years when I first came here as a graduate student. Having experienced Japan from an academic perspective, when I started my career as a U.S. diplomat with the State Department, I was fortunate to serve at the U.S. mission in Japan 4 times. And now, about 3.5 years ago, I left the government and chose to come back to Japan to take a job in a private sector company. If you add it all together, it's about 15 years, stretching back to basically the beginning of the Heisei era, some 30 years ago. Japan is an incredibly complex and interesting country. It's unfair to try to say that there's one particular national mood. There are 126 million individuals in this country that vary as any individuals in any countries do, but also this country has tremendous regional and geographic diversity. Japan has a tremendous amount to offer to the world, not just directly in overseas development assistance, but also in terms of its social structures, in terms of the lessons its own society has learned in moving really starting almost over again from zero in 1945 and building this incredibly dynamic and prosperous society that Japanese citizens enjoy today. So again, it's a little unfair to say there's one particular mood, but I think as Japanese people approach the end of the Heisei era in 2019 and look forward to an imperial transition, I think there is a sense that Japan is back and Japan is moving forward and in a very uncertain geopolitical environment, finding its footing and moving forward strongly. Diversity really represents an incredible challenge for Japan, but it also represents an incredible opportunity for this country, as it does to societies all over the world. Japan is already a diverse country. 126 million people make up this country in a wide variety of regions that differ in their culture, in their heritage, and of course in their cuisine as well. But really for the first time now, the Japanese workplace is looking at an increased number of foreign workers. And this is something I think that, as hard as it is, will ultimately be incredibly beneficial for this country going forward. 55% of the startups in Silicon Valley were created by immigrants to the United States, by people who voluntarily chose to come to the United States. I call them citizens by choice. Now, traditionally, of course, Japan has had a very low immigration rate. This is starting to change as we see more and more workers welcome to Japan, both through government policy, but also through the normal flow that happens in the modern world of people seeking opportunities. Now, smart companies are taking advantage of this. First and foremost, I like to think that great foreign companies in Japan traditionally have welcomed diverse voices, particularly females, Japanese females and others as well, who maybe feel a little more comfortable in an international environment than a traditional Japanese workplace. But international Japanese companies now have gotten it. Some companies, in fact, in this country have implemented English as their common language. That's to make everyone feel welcome, to ensure that foreign voices have an equal weight as Japanese voices, as the companies try to create a new kind of globalized corporate culture to allow them to succeed in the 21st century. But if 55% of Silicon Valley startups are created by immigrants in the United States, imagine the potential here in Tokyo or in Japan as a whole. Imagine the kind of companies that can be created by young or not so young, but creative people from China, from Korea, from Vietnam, from the United States, New Zealand, from anywhere in the world. They can come here and build on the incredible strengths the Japanese education system has given this society, the incredible stability of Japanese society, the tremendous infrastructure that already exists here. With that added spark from the outside, I think that Japan can also become a cradle of startups, innovation, and the kind of companies that will lead the world forward into the 21st century. Well, the embrace of diversity is not easy in any society on earth. And we've seen this in recent years, of course, in my own country, the United States, as well as Western Europe. But we have to keep our eye on the opportunities. And the opportunities, the advantages far outweigh the difficulties we have in getting there. But of course, one particular area in which Japan traditionally has struggled is gender diversity. Japan does lag in the global tables of women's participation in both government and in also the corporate C-suite or leadership of private companies. That's changing. But societal attitudes often lag behind actual changes in society. The other evening, I was watching a popular TV drama with my wife, and it showed a boardroom scene. And every single person at the table in this boardroom scene was an older Japanese male with a dark suit. I looked for the irony, but there was none at all. That was simply presented as the reality, with no social commentary or criticism at all implied in this TV drama. So as long as in the popular culture there are no role models, there are no examples of women in actual leadership positions, then Japan still has a struggle ahead of itself. And if I might add, that corporate boardroom scene in the TV drama also resembles very much the current Japanese cabinet and the political leadership of this country. So everyone has responsibility for ensuring that all of the talent already in this country is represented in leadership, and that Japan also becomes more welcoming to talent and leadership that choose to come to Japan from the outside, people who want to contribute to this country and this society. Again, this is not easy. Human beings in all societies tend to shun or be nervous around diversity. But in the current globalized economy in which we all live, it's absolutely fundamentally important if companies and countries are to move ahead.